Welcome to Movie Night, the essay edition. Straight Outta Compton 2015, directed by F.P. Gary Gray, dramatizes the rise and fracture of N.W.A. from mid-1980s Compton through the early 1990s, focusing on Eazy E, Dr. Dre, and Ice Cube under manager Jerry Heller. It's both a biopic and a history of gangsta rap's birth, powered by N.W.A.'s own music, a young cast including O'Shea Jackson Jr. playing his father, Ice Cube, and strong box office and award success. Story, rise, rebellion, and fallout. The film opens in 1986. Compton. Eric Eazy E. Wright, Jason Mitchell, a small-time dealer, narrowly escapes a police raid on a crack house, giving an early glimpse of the violent, over-policed environment that shaped N.W.A. Andre, Dr. Dre Young, Corey Hawkins, a talented DJ, is stuck spinning at a nightclub while his mother berates him for skipping job interviews. And O'Shea Ice Cube Jackson, O'Shea Jackson Jr., is a high school senior writing rhymes that reflect the street realities around him. Dre dreams of producing records, not just DJing. He joins forces with Cube and local DJ Antoine DJ Yella Carby Neil Brown Jr. and hooks up with aspiring manager Jerry Heller. Paul Giamatti, after Eazy E, impressed by Dre's pitch, agrees to invest his drug money in a record label, Withless Records. When another vocalist walks out of the studio, Dre and Heller push the reluctant Eazy to rap his own lyrics, leading to the recording of Boys in the Hood, which becomes a local hit. The group, Eazy E, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, DJ Yella, and MC Ren, Aldous Hodge, coalesces as N.W.A. Niggas with attitude, channeling South LA's anger into raw, profane tracks. Scenes show them being harassed and humiliated by police, even outside the studio, fueling Cube's writing of "Fuck the Police." Their debut album, Straight Outta Compton, blows up, shocking mainstream America with its explicit lyrics and direct attacks on police brutality. A turning point comes when the FBI sends Ruthless a warning letter about "fuck the police." At a Detroit concert, local police threaten to arrest N.W.A. if they perform the song. The group defiantly performs it anyway, and a riot erupts as cops storm the stage and haul them off. The sequence captures how their music both expressed and escalated confrontation with law enforcement. Meanwhile, tensions over money simmer. Jerry Heller appears to favor Eazy, who signs a solo contract. Cube is offered a $75,000 check, but no clear accounting, and demands a lawyer review the deal. When Heller refuses, Cube walks away, leaving N.W.A. and starting a solo career with Priority Records. Feeling betrayed, N.W.A. releases diss tracks attacking him, but Cube responds with No Vaseline, a ferocious track portrayed in the film as a brutal turning point that humiliates his former group. Dre, frustrated by Ruthless's finances and Heller's control, becomes increasingly drawn to Suge Knight and Death Row Records. He leaves Ruthless, co-founding Death Row with Suge, and beginning the Grams Funk era, mentoring Snoop Dogg and others. The film depicts Suge's violent, intimidating management style, beatings in the studio, threats, and a nightclub assault that foreshadow his later downfall. The film intercuts these industry maneuvers with major historical events: the beating of Rodney King by LAPD officers and the 1992 LA riots following their acquittal. N.W.A.'s earlier warnings about police brutality are shown as prophetic. They were articulating rage the rest of the country has only now seen on TV. As the years pass, the members drift apart. Eazy's label struggles. Cube becomes a successful solo artist and screenwriter. Dre thrives at Death Row, but grows uneasy with Suge's violence and chaos. The DOC's car accident, which crushes his larynx, and Eazy's growing financial troubles underscore the human costs of the business. Eazy's wife, Talmika Kara Patterson, eventually examines the Ruthless contracts and exposes Heller's exploitation, revealing that Eazy has been bled dry Eazy confronts Jerry and fires him. He reaches out to Dre and Cube, proposing an N.W.A. reunion with the condition that Heller not be involved. They cautiously reconcile, agreeing in principle to work together again. But it's too late. Eazy collapses and is diagnosed with AIDS. Hospital scenes show Cube and Dre visiting, reconciling emotionally as he deteriorates. The film closes with Eazy's death in 1995, and text epilogues summarizing Dre and Cube's subsequent successes. Dre founding Aftermath and Beats, Cube's film career, and noting that N.W.A. was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2016. The narrative arc thus runs from youthful rebellion to fame, betrayal, and the sobering realities of mortality and legacy. Music, songs as narrative, memory, and argument. Because Straight Outta Compton is about N.W.A., the music is not just score, it's the subject, structure, and emotional engine of the film. Key N.W.A. tracks and solo songs are woven into performance scenes, studio sessions, and montages, often marking turning points in the story. Songs as plot beats. Several songs function as plot devices. Boys in the Hood, we see its creation with Eazy learning to rap. His struggle and eventual swagger mirror his transition from hustler to label head and frontman. Straight Outta Compton title track, its recording and performance sequences show the group's chemistry and the raw, collective energy that makes them more than the sum of their parts. Fuck the Police, born directly from scenes of harassment. Its performance in Detroit and the subsequent police clash dramatize how music became both protest and evidence in the culture war around free speech and policing. Ice Cube's No Vaseline. The film stages this as a devastating retort to N.W.A., with characters listening in shock. It marks the point of no return in the group's fragmentation. Studio scenes emphasize craft. Dre fine-tuning beats, Yellow working the board, Cube shaping lyrics. These sequences remind viewers that behind the mythology and controversy was a serious artistic process, even if the film necessarily compresses timelines and simplifies some dynamics. Tone and authenticity. The film's soundscape provides authenticity. Old-school West Coast production, 808 drums, Graham's funk synths, and club tracks create a sonic backdrop that matches archive footage and recreations of 1980s, 90s LA. When N.W.A. performs to packed, hyperactive crowds, the music and crowd noise are mixed to feel immersive. Cast interviews describe on-set performance days where the energy felt like a real concert, with the actors sometimes forgetting about cameras. Beyond N.W.A.'s songs, the score uses hip-hop influenced instrumentals to bridge scenes, keeping the film's rhythm fast and propulsive. This pacing echoes hip-hop's own structure, verses and hooks, making the narrative feel like a long, multi-movement track about the group's lifespan. Dramatically, the music also serves as argument. Songs that were once vilified as dangerous are presented here as truthful reflections of police brutality, economic frustration, and black youth anger. By placing tracks like Fuck the Police alongside scenes of Rodney King and the riots, the film suggests that N.W.A. was less about glorifying violence and more about reporting what was happening in their neighborhoods, a position the group long defended. Casting, production anecdotes, and alternative casting F. Gary Gray, who had directed Ice Cube and Friday in multiple music videos, brought a grounded sensibility and pre-existing rapport with the producers Cube and Dr. Dre and subjects. Casting was critical, especially for the three central figures. O'Shea Jackson Jr. as Ice Cube. Casting Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson Jr., was both obvious and risky. In interviews, Jackson Jr. recounts that his father presented the idea before there was even a script, but insisted he would have to earn it. Universal initially considered other actors. Jackson Jr. says Ice Cube couldn't sabotage the film for personal reasons and needed the best actor, not just his son. Jackson Jr., then went through a prolonged audition and training process. He auditioned over 2 years, repeatedly reading with director F. Gary Gray and refining his performance. He trained with top acting coaches like Aaron Spicer, Will Smith's coach, and Susan Batson to perfect the craft. As quick as I could. He had to learn rapping, stage performance, and some producing skills to convincingly portray Cube's studio and stage presence. He describes the first big concert shoot as a turning point. The crowd was so on fire, I didn't see the cameras. That's when I felt we were on to something special. The result is a performance widely praised for capturing Cube's voice, posture, and simmering anger, while also conveying vulnerability and humor. Jason Mitchell, Corey Hawkins, and others. Jason Mitchell's Eazy E is the film's emotional linchpin, funny, cocky, and ultimately tragic. His performance, especially in Eazy's Decline, received critical acclaim and was a major breakout for him. Corey Hawkins brings a thoughtful intensity to Dr. Dre, playing him as the artistic conscience torn between loyalty, ambition, and frustration with exploitative managers. Neil Brown Jr., DJ Yella, and Aldous Hodge MC Ren round out the group, while Paul Giamatti's Jerry Heller mixes charm and manipulation in ways that spark debate about whether the real Heller was fairly portrayed. Alternative casting, because the producers prioritized resemblance in capturing character traits from the real N.W.A. members. Several roles were reportedly open for some time. Jackson Jr. notes that other actors were always considered, but the dream scenario for Cube was for his son to get the part. Similar considerations applied to casting Dre and Eazy, with chemistry tests among the 3 key roles. Production anecdotes. On set involved the real N.W.A., Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and Tamika Wright. Eazy E's widows served as producers, with Cube and Dre present frequently. Jackson Jr. recalls his father being there every single day, providing guidance, but also insisting that the film not become hagiography. Learning the craft, cast members have spoken about the intensive preparation, Hawkins studying Dre's mannerisms and musical process, Mitchell learning Eazy's specific vocal delivery and stage movements. Emotional weight, recreating scenes like police confrontations, and the Detroit performance was emotionally intense. Cast and crew described feeling the contemporary relevance of those moments given ongoing police brutality debates. Budget and box office. Straight Outta Compton was produced with a mid-range studio budget and turned into a major box office success. Budget. IMDb lists the production budget at $28 million estimated. The numbers confirms a $28 million production budget and notes that worldwide box office was about 7.2 times that figure. Box office US and Canada gross $161,197,785. Worldwide gross $201,634,991. The numbers calculates that the domestic share was about 79.7% of worldwide, with an opening weekend of $60,200,180, representing 37.3% of the domestic total, and giving the film a legs multiplier of 2.68. Records and milestones per the numbers. 7th biggest domestic August weekend at the time was $60.20 million, among the top weekends for films based on real-life events, and top R-rated domestic weekends. By early 2016, it had become one of the top-grossing biographical films, with around $134 million domestic after some time in release, ranking 5th behind titles like American Sniper and Lincoln. A box office commentary notes that the film debuted to a blistering $56.10 million studio estimates in 2,757 theaters, ultimately topping that to $60.20 million when actuals came in, and that it far surpassed expectations for a hip-hop biopic. With a roughly $28 million budget and $201.60 million worldwide gross, Straight Outta Compton was a clear financial hit and vindicated Universal's decision to give it a prime summer release rather than relegating it to award season art house slots. Awards and recognition. Critically, the film was well received. Rotten Tomatoes shows a strong critic score and audience score, with consensus highlighting its energy, performances, and context, while noting that it softens or omits some controversial aspects of N.W.A.'s history. It appeared on numerous critics' top 10 lists for 2015 and sparked widespread conversation about representation of hip-hop in mainstream cinema. Major awards. At the 88th Academy Awards 2016, Straight Outta Compton received an Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay. Jonathan Herman and Andrea Berloff, with story credits to S. Lee Savage and Alan Wenkus and Andrea Berloff. It did not win, but the nomination was significant as recognition of a hip-hop biopic's writing in the Academy's top categories. The film also earned a Screen Actors Guild nomination for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture, reflecting ensemble strength, a Producers Guild of America nomination for Outstanding Producer of Theatrical Motion Pictures. Multiple wins and nominations at Black Reel Awards, NAACP Image Awards, and other organizations recognizing black cinema and performances. There was controversy around perceived Oscar snubs, particularly for Director F. Gary Gray and supporting actors like Jason Mitchell and O'Shea Jackson Jr., which became part of the broader Oscars so white conversation that year. Many commentators argued that a film so successful commercially and culturally, with such strong performances, should have been more widely recognized in major categories. Nonetheless, Straight Outta Compton has already secured a place in film history as the definitive N.W.A. biopic and a landmark in the cinematic treatment of hip-hop. Its blend of music, politics, and personal drama, combined with a $28 million budget turning into over $200 million worldwide and an Oscar-nominated script, makes it one of the most impactful music biopics of the 2010s.